Hello everybody, Average Gamer here. Welcome to a quick patch review for patch 1.4.2.1. Crap. Sorry, 1.4.120. 20th of June 2017. So what's going on in this one? Well, basically there's the competitive mode patch, or competitive mode. There's some gameplay changes. Basically they made some changes to some of the balancing for energy weapons, quirks for mechs that were overperforming / underperforming, some additions to faction play, inner sphere resistant heroes obviously are a new thingy that I already did a video about, the usual items and cockpit stuff, decals that have been added into the game, and then other fixes and changes. So first thing is the big one, the competitive mode. So competitive mode is AVA on Conquest. Basically it's the exact same structure as it was for the tournament. You pick a map, you negate the map out, and basically whatever map you're left over with, you're good to go. It's based off of the usual ELO stuff, your win-loss rate basically. The button is going to be, I don't know if they even show where the button is going to be in here. They don't actually show where the button's going to be, but it's going to be just to the left of where the faction warfare button is going to be. Also with this change comes in the fact that you can now change who your group leader is. You can click on this button and drag it down or move it up or whatever when you're in group mode. Here is the map banding, as I mentioned earlier. Here is the pre-start. Basically a very faction warfare-esque feel to the UI and things like that. They'll prepare to drop. There you go. Obviously, leaderboards. Win, loss, what region you're in, your win-loss ratio, stuff like that. Obviously, they've added new chats. Obviously, as I mentioned, there is the gameplay changes. But overall, though, quick play, 4v4, Conquest. If you're into that stuff, there you go. We finally got it. But don't know if there's going to be C-Bill rewards or anything like that associated with them. Probably. But we got to figure that out. There will be a restriction to what mechs are used. Basically, any hero mechs, champion mechs, any mech that you can purchase with MC, you cannot play in the game. If a mech is not purchasable for C-Bills, it cannot be in the game. So say, for example, one of the newer mechs like the Javelin, since it's not available to the general public, for C-Bills yet, you cannot use that in the tournament. Same with Omnipods. You cannot use Omnipods for mechs that are not available for C-Bills. So we're talking hero Omnipods, basically. So, and any mechs that are not released to the general public for free for C-Bills. There was a massive change to weapons. Well, I wouldn't say massive change, but there was definitely a modification associated with a balance pass to energy weapons and a few other things. Overall, you can see in green and red here what they've done. Basically, from what it was explained to me was they've been monitoring for the last 3 to 4 months a whole bunch of different weapon systems and seeing how they've been performing. Overall, I believe they were basically saying is small lasers were overperforming, so they're getting a bit of a reduction. The inner sphere small laser, it's going to be getting an increase to its DPH, damage per heat created. It's also getting a increase in the amount of heat per second it creates, or a reduction, sorry, in the amount of heat per second it creates. In conjunction with the Clan ER, it's pretty much going the opposite. Its damage per second is going up. Its new damage per ton, basically how much it costs per ton for the weapon versus how much damage it does. If you divide the two, it's 2.44, so it's actually gone up. I believe the original number was... They actually don't have the actual number, they just have what they changed. Heat per ton, or heat per second, though, that it creates is going down. So it's creating less heat, but not doing basically as much damage. Clan ER small... Yeah, so the duration is being reduced and the cooldown was being reduced. So its overall DPS was being reduced and not the actual strength of the weapon. Basically, that's just how much damage you can do a total over a full match, we'll say. It will reduce the total you can do, but really, no big deal there. The inner sphere small laser itself got also a reduction in both the DPS. Well, basically everyone's looking at basically the DPS. It got reduced DPS-wise. It also got some reduction when it comes to heat. Same with the Clan small pulse laser as well. So overall, small lasers, other than just the generic inner sphere small laser, pretty much got a nice little reduction because they said they were overperforming. Basically, as you can see here, the small laser for the inner sphere, the heat got reduced. The inner sphere small pulse, its damage got reduced, but the cooldown also got reduced. So it basically recharges just a little bit faster to kind of offset, I guess, the damage. The clan ER small, as I mentioned earlier with the changes, it basically got its cooldown duration increased. So it charges up or recharges just that much faster. And the actual duration is increased. So the laser actually, when you hit that button, lasts an extra 0.1 second longer. The clan small pulse, on the other hand, kind of got the reverse. Its damage was reversed, but the amount of heat it creates got reduced. How long it takes for the actual weapon to recharge got reduced. And also how long the weapon lasts also got reduced. So, I mean, that's actually not so bad. Yeah, its damage got reduced by a third, but everything else got reduced significantly as well. So, even though the DPS right here did get about, we'll say, 25% reduced, it's really not that much of a deal. It'll affect some mechs that are running the small lasers and stuff like that. But one thing you also have to remember too is next month we're getting a whole bunch of new weapons for both Inner Sphere and a small amount for clans. So I feel like this is one of their ways of trying to kind of make the old weapons still also viable while also still keeping it, balanced, as we're trying to balance it. The medium lasers, as you can see here, lots of buffs for the Inner Sphere and a lot of negating or actually, I'm going to say 50-50 for the clans actually. The medium laser itself for the inner sphere, the heat got reduced from 4 to 3.4. The medium pulse laser got its cooldown reduced, so it's just, going to recharge just that much faster. And its heat got reduced as well. So the medium pulse is going to be, more effective, I'll say that. Definitely we'll say that. As you can see here, its DPS went to 7.6 from 1.67, so we're going to see a lot more medium pulse builds probably. Clan ER mediums, which are probably going to be along the lines of what the Inner Sphere ER mediums are going to be. Its cooldown duration got increased, so clan ER mediums are now going to recharge pretty much another extra half a second. So basically 33%. No, not 33%. 1/6 faster. Or slower. So basically you're looking at, well, in this case, half a second. Also the duration, they're going to last just 10 seconds longer, 0.10 seconds. So most people won't notice the difference there when it comes to the duration, but people are probably going to notice the cooldown. Where they were getting to get ready to do that second shot, well, they're still waiting. No changes to heat, so it'll still dissipate at the same rate. Actually, it might not be that bad. You probably actually get more alphas out for medium lasers now than before. Clan medium pulse, as you can see, the damage got reduced. The heat, though, got reduced, which is a good thing. And then the overall duration as well got increased by 0.15 seconds. So not that bad. So overall, inner sphere medium lasers get an increase to their DPS, which is obviously the most important. Damage per heat is also a big thing. They also got a buff by 0.08. The inner sphere overall got their medium lasers basically just upped up just that little bit more. If you look at the clan ER mediums versus the regular mediums here and here, clans are still better by the number, except for the heat. Inner sphere is a little bit better when it comes to heat efficiency and heat management, but that's always been a thing anyways. Clans are always running hotter. DPS, though, still a lot more. It's a little closer with the medium pulse, though, now. We'll have to see just how the new systems, as I said, bring in and shape up the whole thing. I think one of the reasons why they wanted to do all this, as I said, was the new weapons coming out. So they're trying to kind of put things into a little bit of a better spot. So large lasers and large pulse, they basically found, from what I understand, is the large pulse were basically outproducing their counterparts for both the clans and inner sphere. So basically what we're going to see here is as you can see, large pulses are getting knocked down pretty hard. The clan ER large is also getting knocked down quite a bit, while the inner sphere ER large laser really not being changed, but the clan large laser is getting significantly buffed up. As you can see here, the DPS, which is the most important thing for the large laser for the inner sphere, is going up. ER large, no change, But for the clan ERs, it's going down. The inner sphere large pulse and the clan large pulse, both of them going down, not drastically, so not really crazy changes. You might feel it for the first little bit, but in the end, not so much. Last but not least, PPCs. The really only big thing here we're seeing is obviously the cooldown duration of clan ER PPCs. Basically, they're just going to charge that just that little bit longer. Basically, an extra half second. Which, running for someone who really likes his ER PPCs and PPCs, I might have an issue with this extra half a second of cooldown, but we'll have to see. Missiles, LRM heat. Basically, they're trying to fight the whole stacking of LRM 5s. Like 9 LRM 5s, 6 LRM 5s, 4 LRM 5s. Because people like me, I've found out that LRM 5s will put out the same amount of damage, like 2 LRM 5s will create less heat, but will still do 10 points of damage. If I use an LRM 10, then the amount of heat and all that stuff was actually not worth it. It would actually create more heat. So it really wasn't the best thing ever. So it's basically you boated LRM 5s, you could fire quicker, create less heat, and do equal to, if not sometimes greater than, in damage, depending on the situation. Even clans and inner sphere, mind you. So now they've increased the amount of heat they create, which is almost by 50%. So they're going now from 2 to 2.4, which will probably start to kind of kick in a little bit. Clan AMS and inner sphere AMS, they just up the optimal range and up the max range. This, I have a feeling, is also probably for the new systems coming out next month, just to kind of make them a little bit, these ones a little bit more. This is the reason why you want to take these versus the lasers. And then we got faction play. So faction play, basically the way they changed it here, basically now there's a random chance of getting any mode in any bracket, even though technically the bracket might say, in here it's assault, or no, you don't have assault anymore. Skirmish. But there's a chance you might get conquest, or there might be a chance that you get invasion. Either way, there's a chance of you getting any mode now in anything. It's just weighted differently to basically to prioritize whatever it's in. Not the biggest deal. Obviously, here's the resistance heroes. We got the K9, the Grinner, the Katana Cat, the Dinner Mech, or let's call it the Crab Florentine, the Gilly. Not going to pronounce it. Can't remember the name. Don't want to pronounce it. The Knockout and the Kaiju. Mjolnir, I believe. Thor's Hammer is this one. I can't remember the name of the Black Knight off the top of my head. We got the K9, the Grinner, the Katana Cat. I keep saying Katana Cat. Katana Cat, the Florentine, the Gilly, the Mjolnir, the Partisan, the Skokomish, the Knockout, and the Kaiju. Overall, I have to admit, they're not bad, but I am being very hesitant. Because of the new systems that are coming in place, I don't know if they're worth it. Until I see what the new weapon systems are like. And obviously, last but not least, other fixes and changes. So there's just changes to maps. They're just doing a quick skill tree rename. Some group changes, private lobby changes, which is the biggest one here. So private lobbies, as of now, are free. 100% free from the sounds of it. Do anything you want. As of this patch, all premium time requirements for the use of private lobby features have been removed. Ton of jewels, match time, everything. No more premium time needed. They're optimizing the sound cache, optimizing turrets. There's new supply caches available, all that stuff. Now, quirks. So overall, there was a big change. Basically, if the mech was overperforming, they made some changes to it. Underperforming, made some changes to it. Basically, the Night Gear, all variants get a blanket get a reduction to their mobility stats. The Marauder 2C is getting a blanket reduction in its mobility stats. The Urban Mech, the R60L and R63 are getting increases to their existing armor bonuses. That's going to make them insanely just little balls of hate. Firestarter, the variants are receiving structure quirk bonuses as well. The Panther is getting structure quirk bonuses. The Enforcer, a whole bunch of things are different happening here. The 4R is losing its laser duration quirk, but has received reductions as well to the large laser range and energy range quirks, but they've received increases to their mobility stats. So it's going to be a little bit more maneuverable, but it's losing a lot of its offensive firepower. The 5D is received an increase to its laser duration quirk, and the 5P received an energy cooldown quirk. So mechs that are underperforming a little bit, they are buffering them up a little bit, and they're slowly working their way through. The Hunchback 4SP received a reduction to its structure bonus quirk. I'm not happy about that. The Grasshopper is getting just a butt ton of stuff. Some are getting cooldowns for missiles, some are getting cooldowns for PPCs. Armor quirks for the 5J, as well as armor quirks. Sorry, lost its structure but gained armor quirks. The 5P is getting a whole bunch of minor structure increases, but a reduction in its CT structure, and it lost all of its overall structure bonus. The Black Knight, it's receiving sensor quirks for the 6. The 6 is also getting all of its weapon quirks gone. It's losing energy cooldown, energy range, and energy heat gen quirks. The 7 is losing all its energy heat gen, structure quirks, and its energy quirk has been reduced by half as well, though it's receiving armor quirks. So they're increasing survivability and reducing offense for the Black Knight. And the same thing for the Black Knight 7L. You lose your energy range, structure bonus, but you're now receiving laser duration and armor bonuses. The Zeus, same thing. It's receiving an LRM quirk for the 5S, and also received an increase to its ballistics. The 7S has got a 10% missile spread quirk, so the missiles are going to be clustered in a little bit better. They also received a 5% missile spread and 10% missile velocity quirk to the 9S, and the 9S2, and its limited edition variant, or special edition variant, received a 10% ballistic cooldown, 10% cooldown. The Battlemaster basically is getting the same thing as the Hunchback, which is receiving reductions for its overall structure. Mauler, a whole bunch of stuff too. Overall, the changes that they're making are not that crazy, to be honest with you. They're actually pretty good. I haven't seen anything that really made me go no. A lot of this stuff, it's actually pretty good. It's not so bad. HPG as well. They've added in a new line of attack right here down through the middle. So that way the unit that spawns in the middle, I think it's Bravo Lance, can actually get into the fight a lot faster, which is good. And that's pretty much the patch. It's going to be about 3 gigs on Steam. Doing it right now as we speak. I have to say it's pretty good to go. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.